Welcome to another episode of Let's Get Social. I am Dee Scrow, and today I brought in two special guests. You know, we all have that time in our life where, you know, our parents may sell their home and, you know, they have a lot of knickknacks, and to them it's important things that they don't want to get rid of. You know, perhaps they're downsizing, and there's an emotional attachment to things like that. And, you know, like for example, you know, my mom is a single mom, and, you know, she moved and, you know, she had so much things in her home that she did not want to part with. And I wish I had brought in this person today. So we have here Judy Rickey, who is the owner of Clutter Relief Services, along with her partner, Dale Murphy. Thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, thank you for inviting me.
You know, so
Pleasure.
I have been watching you on Instagram, on your social media. You know, I've seen all the amazing things that you have been doing. I also, you know, purchased your book. You know, clear the clutter, reclaim your life. And honestly, it's a really good book. I thought I knew a lot about you, but this has, you know, really shown me a lot about who you are. I didn't know that you were in daycare, like you had a daycare at home.
Yes, for sure.
So
6
how was
years.
that? And
Well, at the beginning, I was doing like 8 to 6 and 10-hour days. And then after about a year or two, I was just burned out. So I started doing like 8:30 to 5. So I was able to cut those because I was always full, and I had my 2 daughters that I was raising, of course. My husband was away from work a lot, and I had 2 dogs, very rambunctious, and so it was constant chaos. I guess you could say. Organized chaos, but it was still chaos. And I loved what I did. I loved the kids, but I couldn't see myself doing it long term because it is very tiring on your body.
because you did go to school for that, right?
I did.
Yeah.
I did psychology, a psychology degree, and early childhood diploma at the same time.
Okay, so the funniest thing that, you know, when I read in your book, you went into this type of business where you're clearing the clutter, yet you were a clutter bug.
Yes.
So there's still hope for my daughter because her room is a disaster. And I know she's gonna kill me for saying that, but it's like she doesn't want to throw anything out, and everything's important. Mm-hmm. Where is that fine line of, you know, you have to get rid of stuff because you just don't need it anymore? Because my mother-in-law is good for this too. I'm like, let's throw this out. She's like, oh, I can't. What if I need it one day? Mm-hmm. And the time she throws it out is the time she's gonna say, oh, I needed it. Like, do you get that a lot from?
Yes, we do. And for your daughter's case, I mean, my kids are the same way. They know that mom can help them if they want. Maybe that's their way out. But they do definitely create a mess. I think one of the things you could do is like, oh, we're gonna paint your room, or we're gonna get you a new piece of furniture, or something for a change, so that they have to clear their room.
Okay.
And then when they're clearing it, then they can see, okay, I've got 50 T-shirts, or I've got whatever it is, way too many books from school.
Yeah.
And so then that way they can more easily, once they see it all together, they can more easily let it go. But yes, for the just in case, there's sort of a rule that I've heard, and it's like, if you can get it within 20 minutes, within 2 miles, and under $20, then you don't need it.
Okay.
So if it's a just in case that you haven't used, right?
That is true, though.
Yeah.
Right?
If it's something specialized that they got maybe in another country that's only available there, and they have used it in the past and it doesn't take up a lot of room, then I might tell them they could keep it.
Okay.
But
So when a potential client calls you, so what are the steps that are involved, and like, what do you guys do? Do you work as a team? Is there more people that come on board? Like, do they call you and you do a conversation over the phone, or do you actually go in-house and see? Because there was a part in your book where you said, everybody has clutter in their own head. Like, you could come in here and I'll be like, this feels cluttered to me, but to you, it's like, no, it's not, Yes. So tell us about how it gets started when somebody calls you. So what's the steps?
So if somebody's calling me or even emailing me to call them back,
Yep.
or they'll set up a phone consultation from my website, I'll talk to them about kind of how long have you lived there, how many people are in your house, what type of clutter do you have, how would you, like, can you see your floor, like how would you rate a lot of times they'll go, no, it's not like the hoarder show. Yeah. That's like the first thing they'll say. It's like, no, I didn't think it was. I didn't think it was. I'm just saying, maybe there's some piles here and there.
Yeah.
And then I'll ask them for pictures. And because we do specialize mainly in seniors, a lot of seniors don't know how to use technology.
Yeah.
So I'll be like, okay, let's set up a meeting. And then typically when we go to an assessment, Dale comes with me.
Okay.
Dale's my project manager.
Okay.
So he is typically there for any of the big jobs, and he manages the team. I typically don't go on site as much anymore as I used to.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to grow the business. So I'm the one that talks to the clients by email, text, phone, and then he deals with the stuff more. Okay. And so we go there and we talk to them and we say, okay, I think you're going to need, if they're going to be moving out to something much smaller, say they're moving to a retirement home.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you'll need 2 junk removal bins for, your garage and your basement. And you're going to need a U-Haul truck to do the donations, because we will take all the donations. We typically have a team of 2, 3, or 4, depending on the size of the house and how soon they need it done.
Okay.
And then we tell them a little bit more about the process. We ask them if there's any charities that they prefer to use, or if they have anything going to friends or family, and then we'll talk about what they're keeping. And if they want to keep too much, then we will look at their new floor plan.
Okay.
And kind of go, okay, you're not going to be able to fit 4 chairs and a couch in this living room.
Yeah.
Type thing. So then we talk about, which one is more important, or which one is more comfortable or means the most to you, and we whittle it down from there. And then they say, I usually come back with an estimate.
Okay.
After we've looked through the pictures. I do take a lot of pictures because we see so many houses. It's
oh, for sure. You forget, like.
Try to remember.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we'll let them know, and we tell them, we try to work with the realtors that they're working with as well.
Yeah, I see that you work with a lot of the realtors, which is great for them.
Yes. And typically we'll say, okay, whatever you're spending on us, you're going to get back, because they'll be able to list the house for more.
Yeah.
Because it's all of a sudden opened up and it looks clean and fresh. And we have cleaners that can come just before as well. And so we do.
So you get all that, the cleaners
yes,
come.
We basically manage the whole thing from the time they phone us and if they don't have a realtor, we'll help find one, and until they're ready to put the house on the market. And then after, when they're closing, we will finish packing them up, and we can unpack if it's not too far away.
Oh, wow.
And get them all set up.
So you're really there from like beginning to end.
We try to be.
We are, yes.
Yeah.
So how long does it typically take? I guess it depends on how much stuff they have in the home, but what is the typical timeline from the time you guys go in to completion? Like, can you declutter a home in a week?
Yes.
Oh, you can?
It really does depend on the condition of the house. So if they've been there for 30, 40 some odd years, they've collected a lot. They've had kids.
Yeah.
Kids have left things behind. They've collected their own. So yeah, it really depends on the size of the house, how long they've been there.
Yeah.
And how much they've collected along the way.
Yeah, because I laughed when I read that in the book because I still have a barbecue that's at my in-laws from like 1998.
It's what happens. You don't see it now, so you just forget about it.
And I was laughing because you're like, send them a text, you know?
Yeah, with a picture.
Do you still need this? And I'm like, I think it's time to pick up that barbecue.
Yeah.
Like I felt guilty.
Or just put it out on the driveway and somebody will take it for metal waste. But
yeah,
definitely. I had a case where this lady was going through books and she said, "Oh, these books my sister loaned me." Well, they were baby books and their kids were in their 20s. And I said, "I don't think she's going to want them back."
Yeah.
She goes, "Well, I need to check with her first." And I just thought, okay, the logic sometimes is not there as well.
Yeah.
Like, are they really going to need that? Are they really going to want that? And
We've done a number where it's been one day,
Yeah.
send one or two people in, and they're done for what they want to do. You know, just to do a closet or maybe do a small room. We've done other ones. A major one comes to mind right before COVID started. And there was 6 or 7 of us there for a number of days. We were there for, I think, 10 days,
Yeah.
give or
Oh,
take.
wow.
Yeah, but he had a lot of stuff
Okay.
that he collected over time.
And
so
he was
it
moving
really
into
runs
a
the gamut.
one-bedroom and a den.
Yeah.
So that's like a huge.
And his you couldn't walk in the rooms in his home.
Yeah.
So it was a huge project.
Yeah.
5 storage units, and then we had 5 auctions, and we got them down to 1 storage unit still, which
that's
we're
amazing.
working on.
Right? So you guys, I saw that you partner with Max. Is it Max Sold?
Yes.
So they're an online auction. Mm-hmm. So
Online auction. They're quite popular in Canada and the States, quite well known.
okay, so the stuff that people don't want to throw out per se, right? So, but they know they can't keep them. You would take that stuff and you put it online to sell, or how does that work? Or like, so say you're decluttering my home, and this is stuff that I want to get rid of, and I want to auction it off. Do I put this stuff online, or do you take care of that?
We take the pictures, we do the descriptions, we try to find a space. Like if you still need to live in your home, it's much easier if you're already moved out.
Yeah.
But if you still need to live in your home, we'll try to move it to the basement and the garage, or a room, an area of the house where you're not going to be able to see it.
Okay.
We have had in the past where somebody has lived in the home and then it's on for a week, it's online, and they decided kind of in the middle of the night, I guess, to take some of the lots out because they didn't want to sell them.
Oh,
and
geez.
it was already online. So,
Yeah. Oh, no.
So that was my very first auction. So that was interesting. So now we're like, we really only want to do the auction if you're not in the house. Or we can do it at, say, Access Storage, which will allow us to do auctions in Burlington.
Yeah.
There's a couple of people that use them to do auctions out of. So we'll bring the things there. We have shelving units, and then we'll just display it, take the pictures, and do it from there.
Okay. So I know you had said, for tips for people to, when you bring one item in, you take two or 3 out. Is that right?
Yes. That was on my social media last week. Yes, definitely. I do say that, especially when you do have a lot of clutter. So for an example, one good thing that I wanted to tell people was to have a loved one sit there while you try on your whole wardrobe, basically, which is what Dale did before we went away to the Dominican.
Yeah.
And a lot of these clothes he'd never seen before, or he wasn't there when I bought them, of course.
Yeah.
So he was able to give an honest opinion, yes, no, maybe.
Yeah.
And I was able to get rid of 110 items I had in my closet.
Oh, wow.
Closets.
3 big garbage bags.
3 big garbage bags, and brought them over to charity.
So you see,
and
even the decluttering lady needs to do
Yes. And I only brought in about 15 new pieces between my photo shoot we did in March and some other clothes I bought for the trip, and those were all bought secondhand at Style Encore, which I believe in. Trying not to do the fast fashion, although my kids, I can't get that through their heads, but I'm sure you know that.
Oh, yeah. We all have those,
Oh, yeah.
I love it. I love, going to those types of stores, you know, because you can get some amazing pieces that are really in like almost brand new condition.
Yeah.
And it's like it's like 90% of the price of when you went to go buy it brand new, like in a store, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So this service isn't just for people who are planning to sell and move, right? It's like, for example, you know, my in-laws, they're staying in their home until, you know,
until they can, as
until
long as they can.
As long as they can. They
Yeah.
don't plan on moving at all.
Yeah.
They're in a big house and they've accumulated so many things over the years. And, you know, you walk in there and there's a lot of, you know, older furniture that is not to my liking. Like, if God forbid something happens to them, you know, we're not going to take it because it's just not our style, right?
Right.
But
And you probably have your own already.
and that's the thing. I wouldn't even have room to even take it because,
Yeah.
you know, back then their dining rooms were huge. Their bedroom sets they're so big.
Yes.
Everything back years ago were made bigger.
Yeah.
Right, and nowadays your kids don't want this stuff because their places are smaller. They're a lot more minimalistic.
Yeah.
So they don't want all these big china cabinets. They don't want the big couches. They don't want
No.
all the big
They
furniture.
have this formal living room and, you know, you can't sit in there.
Yeah, 500
You know,
square foot
plastic.
condo doesn't do it.
Yeah, it's like no one's allowed to sit in there at all. You know, but so they're not planning on moving, but they could definitely get rid of a lot of things because they don't use it. Every single closet, they're going to kill me for saying this, but
That's okay.
You know, but
it's very common.
you don't want to be insulting, right? But really, every single closet is filled with like 30 bed sheets and they sleep on one bed.
Right.
You know, they have clothes from, I think, 1942 that doesn't even fit them anymore.
Yep.
So do you guys go into these homes, even though they're not selling, and just get rid of a lot of things for them so that when the time is right, we've already done the legwork,
Exactly.
right?
So we always kind of say it's never too early to start downsizing.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we do is like a subscription for 6 months. So we can go in and do one room every month with them. And then they can budget for our services for those 6 months or even longer, depends on how much clutter they have. But we can work on a specific area and then they can get homework. A lot of them don't do it, but we can get homework for that month. You know, I want you to go through these 3 boxes of paperwork, or I want you to try on these clothes and see if they fit you. And then we do that. So definitely we do like to, a lot of the seniors do want to get decluttered so that their kids aren't left with the problem after.
Yeah.
But there are definitely some that say, "Oh, I don't care. My kids are going to deal with it." And so it's very I don't know. I wouldn't say half and half, but definitely we notice that with older people, even if they're in a large house, that as they age, they start using less and less of the house.
Yeah.
And so then you're using the one bathroom, you're using your kitchen, your family room, and your bedroom.
That's it.
Basically.
Yeah.
And the rest of the house is collecting dust
That's
and
it.
collecting.
No, for sure.
And then those things, it's like clutter blindness. Like they can go through their house, they won't even see. They will not see what's there. And it happens a lot. To a lot of even regular people, it happens to clutter blindness. Like you don't notice that pile has been sitting there for 6 months, and oftentimes when we go into an assessment, they'll be like, "Oh, I just bought that," and then you look and there's a receipt there, and it's like 2009. It's like, when just is a very relative word.
You know, my basement's becoming a clutter disaster. Like I always joke with my husband because he'll buy things and he has a tendency to not open the box. Like he'll just buy it because it was on sale.
Oh, I like those clients.
Oh, he buys it,
I
it's
like
just
those
on
ones.
sale. And he's like, you know, it was a great price. Maybe we'll need it one day. So now I joke because Like 10 years later, he'll come out and I'm like, oh, wow, like something for the backyard. Where did you get that? And I'm like, oh, it's in aisle 22, like in the basement. Because seriously, we have like aisles of stuff that hasn't even been opened. I look at there's like a description, it's like 2000. And I'm like, from 2000, from 1989. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But it's like, you can't throw it out. Like, my husband is, what is the word?
A planner?
Yeah. I love my husband, but
That will be a nice word for it.
But yeah. We all have that tendency to do that, you know? And sometimes we don't even realize that we're collecting. And I think over the COVID, like those 2 years, I think a lot of people I just bought and bought and bought and bought a lot of online shopping. And like I see just even from my door every other day, there's the doorbell's ringing because my daughters have ordered something.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And a lot of it doesn't even get opened.
And a lot of it doesn't even get opened.
You'll find, and they'll open it and they'll be like, I don't know what that was. So it's the thrill of buying something.
Yeah.
Like people have a hobby of shopping.
Yes.
Shopping should never be a hobby. It's very destructive on your house. It's very destructive on your bank account.
Yeah.
And we definitely see that time and again. And we tell people that when you're trying to sell something, even if it's brand new, you might not get 50% for it. You might only get 25% for it.
Yeah.
And so it is the worst investment you could ever make is to buy stuff.
Yeah.
And unless you love it and you have a place for it in your home, do not buy it.
So that's your tip.
Yes, you're going to use it or you love it or because that is very common. And you were talking about emotional clutter before.
Yep.
And having things that are sentimental. Oftentimes people think that they can't get rid of something because it belonged to somebody that was important to them.
Yes, and that
it's like a piece of them.
It is. And, you know, my mom's like that. Like, she's like, I can't get this. This was given to your aunt. Now your aunt's not here. I can't throw it out.
That's right.
Even though it's, like, useless.
Yeah.
But it's that emotional attachment. How do you get people, you know, to part with that?
Well, there's a couple ways. Sometimes it doesn't work, but you can take a picture of the item and talk to them about it, and just talking to them and them saying the story.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's enough. They just want to tell somebody that story before it goes.
It's a memory. So as long as they have something to remind them of that,
Yeah.
right? That it reminds them of that person.
For sure.
Usually the picture's
Exactly.
enough.
Yeah.
And if you say, "Oh, I know a family that could really use that item," or "I know a charity that could take that item," that might be okay because another thing is they don't want it to end up in the garbage.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing.
So that is very big with seniors too. And we don't want it to end up in the garbage either. That's
not your goal,
Try
to go
our
in there and
best.
just throw everything out,
Exactly.
right?
Like even with that old furniture, you're saying that old brown furniture, which was so popular.
Yeah.
There's a lot of furniture restorers, furniture painters that can make pieces look lovely, and they still are really good quality wood.
Yeah.
So we have some contacts, and we can we use Facebook Marketplace as well to try to sell things for people while we're on the job.
Yeah.
And then
The hardest thing is that a lot of clients think that it's still worth what it was when they first bought it.
Yeah, for sure.
So something that's 30 years old, 40 years old, unless it's a collector's item or
Yeah.
something that people are really looking for,
Yeah.
it's not worth what it was. So even doing marketplace, which we do quite a bit,
Yeah.
there's a lot of times where we'll, put it up for X amount because the client's expecting a certain amount, but it doesn't work out that way, right? So we'll lower it, but it's going to a new home.
Yeah.
It's being reused, and that's kind of what we want to do. We don't want to take it to landfill. The last thing we want to do is go to the dump, carrying this china cabinet and just letting it go.
Yeah.
If we can give it to somebody even for free
Yeah.
because they want it, we'll definitely do that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you guys serve, where's the perimeters where you guys go to?
we do Hamilton, Halton, Mississauga, Flamborough, Haldimand, and Niagara.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you have a pretty big...
Oh yeah, I'll go anywhere.
We have, what we haven't really talked about is that we have many team members, subcontractors that work with us.
Okay.
And so, for example, I've got one in Waterdown, a couple in Burlington, a couple in Georgetown, Beamsville. So basically, we try to get the people that are closest to the job, a few in Hamilton,
Yeah.
to work those jobs. And
Okay.
so that's why we can have a larger radius.
Okay.
We ourselves live on the mountain in Stony Creek, so
Yeah.
That's where I come in. So
That's where you
once
come
she
in.
does the assessment, then it's more of we discuss what the project will be.
Yeah.
And then decide, well, is someone close that we can use? How many people we need and so on. But who's close, and is there a special need for certain one? Because some of them have a specialty. Some of the organizers have a certain specialty. We have one that has a specialty in people with ADHD.
Okay.
Right. So if that's the case, then we can use her. Right. Well,
Oh, that's amazing.
We'll try to do that. Somebody that has different certifications, if they've got that, then we can use them as well.
Yeah.
So we try to cater it to the client as well if they have a special need.
Yeah, that's great because, I love that, you have your testimonials like at the end, which is great, right? Like Judy and team did a fantastic job in decluttering and cleaning out my mother-in-law's house and prepping it for sale. We had a tight deadline as we wanted to get it on the market before the winter. My wife and I didn't think it would be a big job. So we started chipping away at it ourselves when we could. We soon realized it would take us 2 years at the rate we were going. So it was time to call in an expert, which is the case for a lot of people. You think you're able to do this on your own.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it is exhausting. I tried, helping my mom move. And, my mom's house certainly wasn't a very big home, but she's accumulated so many things. And every single nook and cranny of this home, from the basement to the top. And, you think in your head, it only takes me a couple of hours, so easy. It was so exhausting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And had I known that, it was going to be that long, and it was literally emotionally draining. Like I was miserable.
Yeah.
And we had even my sisters and even us combined, we were like, that's it. Like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
I wish I would have called you guys and had you in because it would have been worth every single penny to go through that again. Like, I'll never do it.
Yeah.
Like,
now you've done it once.
now
you're not
I've
gonna
done
do
it once
again,
and I will never do it again. Like, I will call in an expert and you guys take care of it all because like you said, you're going to get that back when you sell that house. So for that, it's an investment. Mm-hmm. That's what it is.
And think about if that had taken them 2 years, 2 years of property tax and utilities and insurance just to keep that house so that they could come there. They lived an hour away to come there on the weekend so that they could go through it. So a lot of times the families will either they don't get along with their parents. It's just they live too far away.
Yeah.
They don't get along with their siblings.
Yeah.
So like you and your sisters were able to do that, but a lot of times you're not.
No, but our timeline too. Like one lives in Toronto, so she could only come like.
And trying to get everyone
Getting
together.
Yeah, or we're
That's right.
working, and it's like, you can't. Like you have to have somebody be there and take care of this for you. Like.
Yeah.
Basically,
it's-
for this one she's mentioning, they would let us in.
Yeah.
We spent the day there. We did what we had to do. They had a pod sitting in the driveway so that we can put stuff in. They told us what goes where. We were back there a few visits, but it was done. They
Yeah.
didn't have to, and they didn't live close. So for them to go do it, and for a lot of people, it's emotional because someone passes away and the house is now empty. It's emotional for them to go through that.
It was, because even when I left my mom's house, me and my mom were the last ones there. And, like my dad died a couple of years ago. This is why my mom sold, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember standing at the front door and just looking around, and it's all the memories that we had being in there, with my dad. And now everything's gone, even though it was the right time for my mom to do this, it was still very emotional looking around and just seeing empty, and you're just visualizing that couch still there. My dad's sitting on that couch, and all the times we sat in my mom's dining room and had these birthdays for my nieces and nephews.
That's right.
It's very emotional, right? But I think once you eliminate all of that clutter and you start new again, it feels so good.
Yeah, but think about if you were the one going through the stuff. Now you pull something up. Why did they keep this stuff?
Yeah.
But then it starts triggering your memory, and then you start looking through it. If it's a photo album, what are you doing? You're going through that photo album. Right now, you're spending more time going through that album.
Yeah.
And then that one goes, and it takes you so long because you're spending all that time. Instead of, us coming in, we don't have an attachment to it.
Yeah.
So for us, we can, put it away for you, put it in a box so it's stored if you want us to. But yeah, if you're doing it on your own, it takes
That's
a
the
lot
biggest
longer.
thing, what you just said. You don't have an attachment to it.
Exactly.
And that's what you need. You need someone to come in and, because sometimes family members listen to other people more than they do
Oh, yes.
their own family.
Oh, definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
If we find a lot of seniors who basically they push back with their kids. They're like, you can't tell me to get rid of that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get rid of that.
Yeah.
Like they're just pushing because they don't want to be told by their kids.
Yeah.
But if I come in and I say, you don't need 10 of these things, whatever. Let's keep 2. Okay.
Yeah.
It sounds reasonable, but it didn't work with your kids.
No.
And yeah, so what things I always tell people to keep are photographs that mean something. Because sometimes you'll find like 50 photograph albums, and there's so many scenery pictures and doubles and pictures that are blurry. Because back then we kept everything, right? And now we can delete it with our cameras.
Yeah.
And you kept
with
them
our
in
phones.
the photo albums with the film.
Yeah.
Right? And that ruins them.
Yeah.
They can be digitized now.
And so we will encourage them to digitize, but we also will try to get them to go to cut down and maybe put it into one box, and so that they can just flip through it, and it doesn't take up a lot of room.
Yeah.
And I tell them to keep handwritten notes, handwritten letters of somebody that has meaning. Like, don't keep your ex husbands if he was a tool or something. Like, don't keep your sisters if you had
Keep the
a big
good
fight and
memories.
you've lost touch. Like, keep the good memories. You want to keep the good memories and those things. And then like if they did artwork that really you can tell they took a long time on, and you like it. Of course, you always have to like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And keep those types of things, but mostly everything else, memory-wise. I keep my kids' report cards, but I only keep the final one because they give you like 3, and they used to give you.
Yeah.
And I keep one class picture, not the whole.
Right.
Because they give you this whole package, and oftentimes you'll go in and find 30 pictures of the same person.
Yeah.
Same pose, and so those are things that can go. We can decide on quickly, and if they were in the newspaper, well, keep the newspaper article that they were in, but you don't have to keep 10 newspapers because you were going to give them to your relatives,
Yeah.
and the whole newspaper to boot for like a little article. So we help them to decide kind of, and we try to get it all into one memory box, rather than having them all over the basement or all over your master closet. That's where a lot of people keep their memories, the master bedroom closet. So.
Oh my God, that's amazing. So I picked up your book. I got mine from
Amazon.
On Amazon,
Yeah.
Yes. So is that where people do get your book?
Yeah.
They want a copy?
Yes.
So, I highly suggest you get this book. It's got a lot of really good info and tips in here. And also, the story behind Judy. She's quite inspiring, and I appreciate you both taking the time to come here and sit down and chat with me. I will, definitely, recommend your services. I think it's amazing. We all need somebody like you at some point in our life.
Yeah.
If there's any last minute tips you want to, tell people that are watching, what would be your biggest tip?
Biggest tip.
If you
Don't buy it in the first place.
Don't buy it if you don't need it. Don't buy it in the first place.
Exactly.
No more shopping for people that go to Winners or whatever. They're hobby shopping. Yeah. No more of that. And then they go, oh, I like that. And then next thing you know, it has no place in your home, but it's living there.
Yeah. Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you so much. This is another episode of Let's Get Social. I'm Dee Scrow, and we're out.